This is David with Corel Training.
This is Cassie Green from Apparel.
This is Gordon and Firemark from the Entertainment Law Update.
And you're listening to
Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by Terry Combs RG, Regular Guy, and Aaron Montgomery.
The place to be for industry news.
the best dad jokes on earth, along with relevant topics to apparel decorators.
Prepare for the wild.
All right, welcome into the show. It is Friday, January 17th, 2025. I'm Terry Combs, and you can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery from our Success Group, and I get to guide business owners to more clarity and confidence in their business. And Terry, Two Regular Guys is a part of that because training and education are pillars of what we do here in Two Regular Guys, plus at our Success Group. So we will keep that trend going here into 2025. I feel like we're running behind schedule because of the way that the New Year's worked. You know, I don't know. It's like, is it really the 17th already? I don't mean to be saying that. I don't mean to be getting anybody. But yes, it is the January 17th. And Terry, today we're going to welcome back a friend of the show, Patrick Ali, for an inside look at one of the most recognized brands in heat transfer material. And very key word there, material. So we'll talk about some cool stuff going on with them, but just kind of what they're seeing out there. And Patrick's got his finger on the pulse, and we always love talking with Patrick. Not only is he a super smart guy, but he's also really fun. So we're going to have a blast today.
Exactly. I honestly tripped over that January 17th as well. It's, man, the days, the weeks, the years fly by, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
All right. Well, be sure and stay to the very end for the secret sauce. Aaron's going to be sharing the secret recipe for fixing the two main pricing mistakes business owners make. So that'll be at the end of the show. The delicious sauce should help you find more profit. So stay tuned to the very end of the show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Terry, we've got our friends from World Imaging News joining us today, and they're going to share some news with us. They're doing some great stuff. I love what Dan and his team are doing over there, and really cool stuff. So I'm excited to kind of get caught up here with what's going on. So are you ready for that, Terry?
I'm ready. Let's hear the news.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Maria Jose Clavijo, joining you all the way from Bogota, Colombia. We're super excited to be here today with two regular guys. Isn't that right, Ben?
Absolutely, MJ. Hey, good morning from Crestline, California, coming to you from the World Imaging News team. It's Friday, and yes, folks, it is the 17th. It doesn't seem like the 17th. And even better, we've got some great stories lined up. Today, we'll be diving into some of the biggest highlights of 2024. From our first weekly quick newsletter of 2025, we featured the top 10 product stories, top 5 business stories, and our story of the year from 2024, all based on what our readers found most interesting on our website and social media.
Dan, can you believe we published over 575 stories in 2024? That's right, over 575 articles covering the latest trends in imaging and graphics. With so much happening last year, we had a lot to choose from when selecting the top stories. Each one played a part in shaping the industry, spotlighting key innovations and major developments that drove growth.
Wow, 575 stories. That's a ton of news. So let's kick things off. MJ, what was the top story of the year?
The number one story then of 2024 was Epson's acquisition of Fiery, and what a game changer. This $491 million deal is expected to drastically reduce opportunities for other third-party software providers working with Epson. It's a huge shakeup, especially for other providers.
You're absolutely right, MJ. This acquisition is sending shockwaves through the graphic market, and will continue through 2025. But that wasn't the only big news last year. Let's take a look at a few more key company stories from 2024 that are really that are likely to have a lasting impact. One story that is sad for many of us is that Condi Systems concluded their sales operations on April 30th, 2024. For us that have been in the dye sublimation business and know David Gross, his name was synonymous with sublimation. The Cundy name will continue because the inventory has been purchased, but the company is now operating on a much, much smaller scale than before. Another business story that was very important was that Grimco is acquiring GSG, Graphic Solutions Group. Now, industry consolidation will continue. In fact, both Grimco and GSG have been very active in acquiring companies. But having said this, there are going to be some challenges for manufacturers who will not want to have Grimco represent them. So you're going to see lots of changes in the channels as we go into 2025. Another story that we followed very closely was Roland DG going private. In a bold strategic move, Roland's leadership took the company private, rejecting a hostile takeover by Brother. You know, it's very unusual for Japanese companies to enter into hostile takeovers, and this attempt by Brother certainly created waves in Japan and around the world.
Well done, those were definitely some big moves. And speaking of major developments, here are a few of the top product innovations we spotlighted in 2024. Starting with Cutworks USA introduces Neil XG DTF cutter. This cutting-edge product offers superior precision and efficiency in DTF cutting. Insta's 780 dual shuttle automatic heat press, a high-performance solution tailored for industrial DTF applications. Mimaki's global demos of Trappist. Mimaki took their latest tech on a global tour showcasing some exciting innovations. Mucho America unveils Print and Cut at Printing United Expo 2024, a major step forward in print and cut technology. Roland DG launches next generation direct-to-film printer. This product offers a glimpse into the future of DTF printing. Also, Siser introduces Pure HT, the world's first compostable heat transfer material, a sustainable innovation making waves in the heat transfer market. And last but not least, Stahl's eTronics Dual Air Fusion ProPlace IQ, advanced heat press technology with impressive automation features.
You know, those are some really exciting innovation. And it's great that Patrick's here today. I wasn't aware of that, but with the Pure HT, that's an incredible new product, a very innovative product from Caesar. As we step into 2025, it looks like there's even more to look forward to. But MJ, we can't forget, we had some big moments for World Imaging News itself in 2024.
You're absolutely right then. One of our biggest milestones was the official launch of World Imaging News on January 31, 2024. It's hard to believe we're about to celebrate our first birthday. And later in the year, on November 30th, 2024, we launched World Imaging News Latino, expanding our coverage to serve the Spanish speaking market. It's been absolutely an incredible journey so far.
You're right. And speaking of big news, there was one more major event we have to mention. It involves two regular guys.
That's right then. We were thrilled and honored when Win was invited to present the news on a monthly basis here on the Two Regular Guys podcast. That was definitely one of the highlights of our year. A huge thank you to Aaron, Terry, and Eric for the amazing work they do and for giving us this opportunity to be part of their show.
Absolutely. We're really grateful to the entire Two Regular Guys team for welcoming us onto their platform. It's been an awesome collaboration. You know, we've covered many stories to MJ today, MJ, as we do every month. To stay up to date on the latest news and trends in digital imaging, please go over to worldimagingnews.com and
WorldImagingNewsLatina.com.
to sign up for our weekly newsletter, Win Quick News. And that's the Win News, folks. I'm Dan Barefoot.
And I'm MJ.
And until next time, stay healthy and keep smiling.
Manténganse saludables y sigan sonriendo.
That's awesome stuff, Terry. Really appreciate them showing up and just all of the effort and energy they put into making sure that we are kept up to date. So we are very blessed to have such a wonderful community of people and Dan and MJ putting in all that effort, Terry.
We love having you guys here. And wow, 575 stories. That's a lot of work. That is
It
a
is a
lot
lot
of
of work.
stories.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I've been fortunate to know Dan for quite some time, and man, he's an all in guy, and one of the things I really love about him, and obviously MJ's part of that same kind of cloth, cut from that same cloth, right? So they're doing some great work over there. So thanks, Dan and MJ, for being here today. Terry, we are excited again. Even Patrick came up in the news there, so we're excited to get to Patrick here, but we would be remiss if we did not bring the dad joke, which I think has kind of become a staple. So we're going to keep going here in 2025, making that something that people get to enjoy, hopefully. And
All right,
get Derek to
and
shake his head.
you're bringing the dad joke today, so let's hear what you have.
All right, here we go. So Terry, earlier this week, I was trying to make a reservation at the library.
Oh yeah, what happened?
Well, unfortunately, they're completely booked.
Let me see if I can find Eric's face there.
All right.
That's
Well,
definitely a dad joke.
definitely a dad joke.
But for some of our younger listeners, the library is a place where we used to go and check out books.
I'm not sure if that's a dad joke or just an old guy joke. All right, real quick, before we get Patrick in here and you get to the housekeeping, Terry, let's just make sure we check in with everybody that's tuned in live right now. We appreciate you guys being here. We had Doug checking in with us bright and early there. Thank you, Doug, for being here. And good morning to Rena Cooper. Thank you. And Ramona Needles McKee is here. So glad to be here. And as we were kind of talking about the fact we're going to have Patrick here, she mentioned that she loves her Juliet. So we'll get to that here, I'm sure. And then we've got Craig from Collegiate Press Wide Format just printing away there in Boston, up in Beantown, and listening in the background. So we appreciate you having us on in the background there, Craig. And good morning to Chuck. Thank you for checking in sunny Florida. I think Chuck can kind of give that same weather report like you do, Terry.
Absolutely. 9 inches of sunshine today and no wind in sight.
Absolutely. So, all right. Well, thank you guys again for being here. Make sure that you guys keep commenting and interacting here. And if you've got questions for Patrick coming up, please make sure that you get them in there for us. And we'll try to get that in front of Patrick. But Terry, I guess we need to do a little housekeeping, get the room in order before we bring Patrick in here.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Aaron, before we dive in, we want to thank everybody for checking out the Two Regular Guys podcast. We still need your voices. We would love to have the regulators participate in our show intros. Go to decorators.inc/intro and read a few sentences and be a part of every show. And we would love to have you participate. Don't miss out. We are always looking for new guests. So if you or anyone you know would like to join us, go to calendly.com/2 regular guys to book a future episode, or email us at info@tworegularguys.com with your show ideas. If you are listening to the podcast version of the show, we would appreciate you sharing the Two Regular Guys podcast with all of your industry friends so they can become regulators too. We would appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, wherever you do your podcast listening, we are there. We would love to have your reviews. And please join in with your comments and questions today. And Aaron, let's get on with the show.
Let's do this. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, let's welcome in Patrick Ali from Siser. And there he is. Hello, sir. How are you today?
Boys, how are we doing today? How's it going?
We are doing fantastic, Patrick. All right, we're going to dive right into this because we've got a lot of ground to cover, and we've made a New Year's resolution to tighten things up a little bit. And as you can tell, we're already failing. But
normally, you're at zero right now in the first two shows. So
normally the guest segment hits at like 10-minute mark. We're at 14. It's no big deal.
It's fine. It's fine. We're okay. We're all okay. All right.
I love it.
But no, Patrick, getting into this here, we did away with the bios a few years ago. We just kind of felt like, man, you know what? That we want our listeners to actually know who these guests are. So we ask you instead to just tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe how you found your way into the industry. I'm sure people have heard some of this, but for anybody that has been living under a rock and don't know you, give us a little Patrick 101 here, please.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys, first of all, so much just for the opportunity to be on the show. I know that you guys have been doing this for a long time, so it's always a great honor to be a part of something that's a staple in the industry. And shout out to Win as well. I mean, they are incredible. We've had an opportunity to be featured a couple times recently in some products, so we love the team. But for anybody that doesn't know us, my name is Patrick Ali. I am the video production manager and lead educator here at Siser. Also had a large part to play in the development of the Romeo and Juliet high definition cutters, as well as Leonardo Design Studio. So kind of, we all wear a bunch of hats. So just kind of a bunch of hats that I wear. But as most people heard, it is Siser. That's always, I feel like every time we talk, we always have to just establish
just
that
clarify,
we're a manufacturing company of heat transfer materials and pressure sensitive materials based out of Vicenza, Italy. We made our name back in the 70s. And the company is actually the combination of the two founders' names, which is Simona and Sergio. So that's where the SI and the SER come from in the word Siser.
Gotcha.
Very good, very good. So,
all right.
So Patrick, along those lines, talk to us about Siser. Start with, and you mentioned the beginning, but talk to us about how Siser got its start.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a lot of people are familiar with how heat transfer vinyl kind of came to be in the industry. It was simply cuttable names and numbers that could customize sports jerseys. But we all know that in the 70s, 80s, and even into the later 90s, that this stuff was basically made of PVCs and products that we necessarily wouldn't want to use today. Well, the evolution of heat transfer vinyl has become a lot more sustainable. The products are made at a lot higher quality. They're made with a large reduction in chemical bases now. And we were able to kind of make our name in the early 2000s in the craft space. So we went into retail stores like a Michaels or a Joann Fabric, and we were able to start building this craft, I guess, empire really of people that found our product really useful for what they're decorating every single day. And so the evolution of heat transfer vinyl came from just simply using this stuff to customize a baseball, a basketball, a football jersey, all the way on to a plethora of different product lines, different coating lines, different thicknesses of materials, and specialty effects. So what ended up happening is people found a lot more use cases out of this product over the course of that time since the 70s, and when we first established Siser. But what we found is that people are now able to take multimedia and create something really sustainable for themselves as far as a financial gain, whether it's a hobby that you want to turn into a business or you have the ambition to become an entrepreneur and start your own business yourself.
Awesome. Yeah. So Patrick, I think that for people in this industry, how many people started with this product, and I don't think there's any easier way to enter an industry than with your product.
Yeah, I know, I agree completely. I think most people start out with the idea of creating something, right? Whether it's trying to afford buying custom, family reunion shirts. And it really starts out local, right? You start out by making your own fan gear. Obviously, we're Siser North America. We're based about 15 minutes north of Detroit. So everybody's making fan gear right now for the Lions because we're doing so well. But you start out that way, and then you start to migrate into all these different technologies and these decoration methods. But the core starts at heat transfer. It's one of the lowest entry-level costs in the industry. You don't need any fancy tools. I think a lot of people, when they see heat transfer materials, and that's the other thing we got to get away from in 25, it's not vinyl anymore. These are materials that are made with non-PVC products, and they're eco-friendly and they're CPSI compliant, which we can get into in a minute. But with that said, these heat transfer products now have given people the ability to grab a pair of home scissors, a home iron, and create something for themselves. Whether it's just making little shapes with a hole puncher and decorating kids' clothes, or you go on to getting yourself a cutting machine like a Romeo, a Juliet, a Cricut, a Roland, a Graphtec, and then you can actually cut these into really intricate designs and still apply them. But the attribute of application is the best part. We don't need heat presses for this material here at Siser. We use a home iron for a lot of the applications that we do in-house, and a lot of the live content that I do. People actually see me using a home iron because that is how easy this product is, and how I will say getting into the industry, how entry level it can be, being that you don't have the budget to spend on a $30,000 printer right now, right? So it's a really great entry level and future product for people, as I still decorate primarily with heat transfer vinyl, but it's a great stepping stone into getting to that next evolution for your business or your craft or your hobby.
Yeah. Yeah. So Patrick, I would have to not use a home iron, because then my wife would know I know how to use it. And
Yep.
yeah. So just so you know, that's the only reason I use a heat press only. So
Hey, listen, on our platform, we give you heat press or heat home iron 101.
Okay.
So we can do it in secret. So that
okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you said, we have to get away from calling it vinyl. It's like in my end of the industry, it's silk screen.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. People used to use silk, but it's probably been 50 years.
Right.
It's still silk screen. And by the way, we may have to cut the interview short because I'm a 40-year Chiefs fan. So I just...
Okay, well, hey, listen, I completely understand, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. That's all I got.
I hope so.
I love it.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm representing a little bit of red for you today.
There you are.
All right.
I was going to say, it looked a little Cardinal-esque being here in St. Louis, too. So
yeah, there we go.
All right. And then real quick, Eric popped in the comments when we were talking about the pronunciation of the company's name, that you guys have a TikTok over there. So we want to get that up there, because you probably only have a couple days to go check that out.
Yes. Yeah. You got a couple days. It's also available over on Instagram too. But
okay.
There's only a couple more days until TikTok is done.
It's done. Who knows what's going to happen there. All right. More tongue in cheek than anything. Yeah. We're not here to. All right. But I do want to talk about this idea, this evolution. We're talking about that, but you guys have, I had the great fortune of working with Siser years ago when I was with another company, and I know that you don't have this massive team there, but you guys were growing at this level that was incredible. And I think still to this day, you guys wear a lot of hats, like you were talking about. So anything that stands out for you as why maybe Siser grew so rapidly in the industry? I mean, people know the name. People seek it out.
Yeah, well, to kind of give a little bit of background on my start too, I know I skipped that part in the intro there, but a little bit of my background is I was in the mortgage business. I knew nothing about heat transfer vinyl. I knew nothing about our heat transfer materials. See, even I got to get used to saying this. I knew nothing about this stuff, and my wife was a stay-at-home mom for many, many years, and she decided that she wanted to contribute back to society and form a hobby or a craft or something where she can make sustainable income. So I got her a Cricut machine, and she was doing really great with that. And she went on ladies' night one night, and she said, "Hey, all I need you to do is push this button. It's going to cut this out, and you're going to do this thing called weeding. I just need you to do this for me, so when I get home, I can press this." I royally screwed up the first one. I mean, it was a disaster. Well, I hopped on some YouTube videos and realized the product we were using was Siser. So I hop on Siser's YouTube, and I realized, there's this guy Joe on there that's kind of teaching you how to do things, and there's all these educators in the industry. So big shout out to Jared over at Heat Press Nation, and Kirk over at Heat Transfer Warehouse, Esteban over at All American. I mean, those are people that I actually learned from in the industry that I have the fortune to work with today. But I realized, oh wow, this company is this big global entity. I mean, there's got to be thousands of people making this engine run. And then I got lucky enough to have a position here, because we're about 15 minutes from my house is our home base in Michigan. Nice. So when I started working here, I realized, there's like 25 people in this office that's making this global entity thing work. And then you have these smaller pockets of the globe that all these people are working together. So right now today at Siser, 5 years into my career, and now in the position I am, we're about 40 people large here at North America, and we manage basically North America, Canada, and then we help our global partners out, or all of our global branches out in Italy and Latin America and ANZ and Asia. We help them out as well with content, marketing. It's a big collaborative effort. So it's a really cool thing to see us at kind of this global scale and how big we are. But when you really come into our office, you realize it's a bunch of people like me that are just goofballs. We wear a bunch of hats, we do some fun stuff, and people tend to like it. So it's a really cool thing. It's a really cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah. Well, and I also really feel like what stood out from being on the outside looking in is you guys did such a great job of embracing those entry level, like Terry was talking about, right? Like this is a great, easy place to start. What you were mentioning,
Yeah.
being able to use a home iron and stuff like that. And I feel like you guys saw that and embraced that. And obviously it shows, bringing in somebody like yourself who's about education and being willing to say, yeah. Because I think sometimes in our industry, we tend to want to turn our noses up a little bit to the quote unquote craft market.
Of course. Of
But
course.
and then we want to complain about them, and it's like, well, hold on a second, what if we embrace them and we work together with them? And I feel like that was definitely something that stood out to me too. So did you guys feel that internally?
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is I think we took a different approach than a lot of other companies did when Siser started to become so popular into the industry and then get into this craft world. We realized that with larger scale businesses, people could hop in, they had a roll in, they kind of knew how to use it, the material became very easy for them to work with and utilize, whether it was a substitute in their screen print shop or it was a substitute to their business. Well, the craft space, a lot of people, just like all of us, we come in with zero knowledge. So Siser took the approach as a company that manufactures but doesn't sell direct to the public. We sell through distribution and resellers. Well, what that allowed us to do is put all of our combined efforts into education first. And that's what we really built our name of Siser on, is educating the customer all the way from the 101 to building up multi-million-dollar businesses and supporting multi-million and some billion-dollar businesses with this material. And it was just a start of, let's take the approach of making sure that everybody can take our product from start to finish and feel confident and comfortable with utilizing it, because that is the way. And I think a lot of us in the commercial space don't realize we all started out as a craft. Whether you are a one screen printer just doing one color on shirts to make enough money to elevate to get to that next, Riley Hopkins system that's a forehead and can work really well for your situation. We all start this out as our craft, and then it becomes what we decide to evolve that into later on if we feel like that's right for us. So it's really interesting when people ask us, where does the success come? And I really do believe it comes in not only the people that are upstairs in customer service, support, our sales team, our graphic designers are incredible of some of the work that they do, but it really, we package it all into an educational realm for people to really learn, engage, and get really, really, really comfortable with our product. And that's, I think, why people see that quality to be so great, is that they're getting an opportunity to really learn from us directly, if that makes sense.
Totally. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Terry,
the only thing different about your story, Patrick, was you didn't say I was in a band, and then I
Okay, so hold on. There might be some similarities between me and the other person that was here. Was that, yes, I was in a band, but at a very young age. So I don't really talk about it because it's one of those things where your buddies and you get together. We're basically playing on pots and pans and rubber band guitars, guys. I mean, come on. At the end of the day.
Well, half our industry tells the story. Okay, I was in a band, but what is the same with you and almost all of us? Just like I always say, armed with my degree in journalism from Ohio University, I accidentally became a screen printer, and but nobody ever leaves.
I get it.
That's right.
Well, and also, I just want to say that strike too, Terry. You said Ohio University. We're U of M fans up here, bud. So it doesn't matter anywhere south of the border, man. We're U of M fans up here.
Yeah.
I'm not Ohio State though, so
that's okay. So
I was that guy that wasn't from Ohio, so I didn't get when I went to Ohio U that why are you all Ohio State fans?
Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm straight up Notre Dame here.
I love it.
Monday. So
all right. Hey, Terry, real quick, let's get a couple of the comments before we get too far away. David Haynes from CorelTrainer.com said, Patrick is amazing. Tremendous trio on the podcast today.
Thank you.
Would agree. And then Martha Taylor checking in. And appreciate you being here, Martha. And Doug said, I bought my wife an iron, but she wants it for quilting. we never iron clothes. Yeah. Um, and then, David did say, Terry, come on, you got to go for the Arizona Cardinals. David's
Well, David, as
guy.
you know, I am a season ticket holder for the Cardinals. In fact, if I could take my camera outside, I could show you the stadium. It's like less than a mile from me.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And then David mentioned, I love the craft market. Everyone has to start somewhere. Stay humble, my friends. Absolutely. And I think, So, all right, Terry, what's next?
Well, so when people think of Siser, other than, people out there in the podcast world whispering, hey, Patrick, I don't think you're saying the name right. It's clearly Siser. But everybody thinks HTV, right? So what do you think the future holds for this segment of the marketplace?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited. We just had an opportunity to, by the way, thank you guys so much. I know that Pat Boyle and Stephanie had accepted our REGGIE for Product of the Year for the Pure HT. We started with that product, and this mission and this goal that we have to move into 25 and into 26 and even on to the future of Siser really started 5 years ago with Siser Italy. They were working with this university in Italy to develop this new eco-friendly. We wanted a biodegradable product. We wanted something that was safe because here at Siser we are certified. We have a CPSA certification on all of our products, OEKO-TEX approved, standard 100. But the one we were missing was that BPI, that compostable. So we are very, very happy that last year at Printing United we were able to launch Pure HT, which is our brand new fully compostable heat transfer material that actually will break down in the ground in under 90 days. It is an incredible, incredible product. It's light to the touch. It isn't affected in a wash based on the material. It really takes those microorganisms from the ground to help break that down and make that material disappear. So that was just one start of our future. And then we also launched a product last year called EcoStretcher, actually the year before, EcoStretch, that is a water-based manufactured product. So we've really are trying to take the safety protocol for a lot of these products and kind of gain that back into the industry and put it back in our hands. Because right now, there's a lot of different competitive product out there from a lot of different sources around the globe, and they just don't pay attention or manufacture in the way that we do to ensure that when you actually are using this stuff in your home, we're not talking about a shop that has great BUFA systems and air filtration and all of this stuff. When you take this to your home and you're using a home iron and you have your kids around or you have your parents around and you're doing these things every day, these products, no matter what you're using, name the decoration method, they use chemicals, right? And so we wanted to make sure that the chemicals that we're using are safe or at least deemed safe for use in our products. So that's one segment. We're talking about sustainability. We're talking about eco-friendliness. The other one is technology. So we were able to develop the Romeo and the Juliet high-definition cutting machines as well as Leonardo, and we are working around the clock 24/7 on developing more tools, more attributes, more features, more accessories for this equipment so that you have really a well-rounded system to use, not only in the quality of product that you're using and you're applying, but also the quality of products that you're utilizing to create these things every single day. So there's those two segments. Now there is one that Johan would yell at me if he heard me say, because I just saw it not too long ago, but I will tell you, if you haven't already and you aren't already, make sure that you're following Siser North America, because we have a product right now that I truly believe, with the help of Pure HT and things like the eco-friendly EcoStretch and things like the Romeo and Juliet and Leonardo system, this is going to revolutionize, this product will revolutionize the way that we create and how we actually create. So we're really excited about that. I can't say too much on it, but maybe
Just us.
If you guys, if somebody was hanging out at Long Beach, maybe I would, a little birdie might chirp there. But other than that, yeah. So we're just really excited about what we've been able to create, and we're continuing our efforts. That's the hard part when companies say like, oh, we're going to go this direction this year. A lot of times I feel I don't say that it's disingenuous, but it's like, why weren't we doing that before, right? If we're going to do it now, why weren't we doing it before? And Siser's been lucky enough that we've started to create a piece of the industry that is sustainable for a lot of people. So we're just going to keep going that direction and keep developing. And one thing that we're really great at is you don't hear us talking a lot about what we're doing behind the scenes, because we want to make it perfect. We don't want to talk about something and then when we go to launch, it's not what we said or it's not what we had agreed and promised the industry. So we really keep stuff under wraps so that we can make sure that we're developing and constantly communicating on it to have the best perfect product once we're all said and done.
Yeah, and let me jump back when you said, and let's just talk about vinyl HTV.
Yeah.
You mentioned quality, and there's so many people that enter the industry who think, well, okay, there's vinyl, so I need to buy that. Well, all vinyls are not the same. All manufacturers are not the same. You want to touch on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, we take a little different approach to our manufacturing. We're very, there's a lot of companies out there, especially right now. And I say this right now because I think there's a couple of companies that are starting to grow in maybe some of the heat press categories and maybe starting to launch some cutters of their own. And what we end up finding out a lot of times is that through that manufacturing process, it's in the door and out the door. There is no quality assurance check. There is no checks and balances. There's no longevity testing that's done because it's cheap, and it's cheap to get it over the water and get it into the U.S. to be able to sell these kind of things, right? For us, we just take a little bit different approach. At every time we do a lab dip, it is sent to each branch across the globe so that they can actually inspect it, they can actually test it, they can actually use it. So by the time we get to that quality assurance testing, towards the end of the manufacturing process, we know that that product is going to pass. We know whether it's going to pass or if it's going to fail. The other part to that is we just listen to the audience. We listen to what they need and what their necessities are, and we try to manufacture to that way. Perfect example of we're one of the only in the industry that offers 12, 15, 20, 24-inch, 30-inch material, 54-inch, and 59-inch material. And the reason why we do that is because that is a request from the industry and what they've needed and wanted for that product or those particular lines of product. So we try to really give them that. Now on the manufacturing side, again, going back into the certifications and what all of those mean, something like CPSIA compliance, knowing that your product is deemed safe for use in kids from 0 to 12 years old. That certification takes a lot of time, energy, and effort into R&D and into development of a product to make sure that that product is going to pass. So our team works alongside all of these certification centers and processes so that we can constantly make sure that we're compliant. Whereas others, it's just, again, it's in the door, out the door, and sell it as cheap as possible and get rid of it. But we want that product to last. So every product at Siser is wash tested for 50 plus washes. Most of them go way, way beyond that. They're also all of our inks and any of our sublimation inks. Those are all tested for longevity and wear use. So, like our sublimation inks are great for multiple washes without color fading or color restriction on polyester garments. So just those little things, we try to take it a step further instead of saying, oh, here's a product, you guys can use it. And then if you don't like it, we're just going to launch another one later. We're going to kind of take this one, private label that, give it right back to you and say, here's a new and improved version of it. It's not fair to the audience. If it doesn't work, we scrap the line and we start over. And we've taken a lot of large cuts, or financial cuts in our company in past to eliminate a line of material because that's not what the industry wanted. And so we're willing to do that as well, where others, they're not willing to do that, which shows in the quality of the product, essentially.
Okay.
Well, I love that. And I have to say that I loved when you guys got the REGGIE Award, and I just off the cuff said, so what do you guys do? Take it outside and bury it? And the response was, well, no, we just buried it in all the houseplants in the building. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was interesting that you mentioned that too, because on the launch live, I was really nervous, right? Because we've tested this product multiple times, but as you guys know, when you go live, things happen, right? And sometimes it doesn't work out the way that you think it's going to work out. So I brought in one of the plants from my boss's office, and I just sat it down on the table. I said, hey, we're going to search for this thing, and if it's here, I'm lying to you. If it's not here, I'm not lying to you. So that was the only real test that we could do to see if this would work. So I'm digging around in this plant, and I have a genuine expression on my face to the camera of like, guys, I'm not seeing this right now. And so I dig a little bit further, and I actually found the plastic carrier that the material sits on, because that was the only indicator that if this worked, that we would be able to even find where that piece was. So it was really cool to do that. But we say that our product is biodegradable in like 90 days, right? That plant particular, I want to say that piece was buried for 26 days or 27 days, and it had already completely deteriorated. So with that said, when we talk about, your product has to apply at 305 to 310 degrees for 10 to 15 seconds, or this product will eliminate itself or biodegrade or compost within 90 days, we're giving you the long term, right? A lot of times. And people, I don't think, realize that with those products. This thing broke down way faster than we thought it was. And I've even wash tested it 50 times and didn't do anything to the shirt. So I'm racking my brain around, how do we even come up with this concept, or how do we even come up with this product? But that goes to show you the innovation goes as far as even surprising the person who plays with it and has to show the world basically at live. You know what I mean? So,
And Patrick, you meant 50 plus. You said 50 plus washings, and for anybody who's listening who's new to the industry, 50 plus washings in our industry is considered a permanent print. It's we use the same standard for screen printing, for DTG, for everything. So that's awesome. And I don't want to take us too long, but I want to comment about when you talked about quality of vinyl and the other products. I think a lot of people enter our industry and don't know that, hey, I need to shop around for a quality product, and they get in the industry, they have issues with it, and they get out of the industry. So, do your research out there and get the right products to start with, and you're going to have a long life here with us, and maybe be in the two regular guys someday.
Maybe.
All right. So Patrick, we like to polish the crystal ball, and you've talked a little bit about the future already, but we'd like to ask our guests what they think the future holds for the industry as a whole, not just in your corner of it. What do you think? Where do you think the industry's going?
Okay, so you want my hot take on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was sitting in Printing United when it was September this year. It was a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting at Printing United, and I'm sitting at day 2 of the show, and obviously nobody in the entire convention hall can talk at that point because we've been talking for days and days and doing media and all that other stuff. And I looked around and I felt something different. I felt something way different than pre-COVID or even right after COVID when everybody started coming back to shows, and you could almost visually see this ripple effect hit the industry, and I felt like we were back. I felt like everything was good. And I'm going to continue to be the optimist on that and be very, very positive, thinking that the industry right now, people are revolutionizing what they're doing. You have DTF technology that is getting really, really good. You have heat transfer material that is getting really, really good and better, eco-friendly, easier to use. You have print-on-demand companies popping up. It's a healthy industry right now, and I think what people are realizing, and kind of to your point of, you kind of you gotta shop around for those products. This is the best time to be able to do that, because I think you are finally getting the best that you're gonna get at this moment out of the DTF technology. You're getting the best that you're gonna get out of the heat transfer category, out of the screen print category, out of the pressing category. You're going to get the best of the best as of right this moment, because I think finally the industry, at least in my 5 years that I've been physically working in the industry, but the 7 or 8 that I've been surrounding it, it feels like people are taking chances, or at least companies are taking chances to develop these things now. And that's where I think the future is. I think you're going to see a lot of development for a lot of really innovative things coming up this year. And all of that is for your benefit. We don't look at everything as, oh, this is super expensive and I'm already, eyeballs deep in the money that I've spent on the craft that I have now or the business model that I have now. Be open-minded to some of these technologies, because even for us, we spent a little bit of time being a little closed-minded on the DTF, right? And I think now we're a little more open because we see the value in mixed media, being able to do a full color transfer and then add in Brick 600 or a strip flock material to add depth, dimension, feel, something different than what you would typically get if it was just DTF, just heat transfer, just screen print material on that garment. So I think the future is really, really healthy. Like I said, I felt something really different at Printing United. I'm very excited to go to Impressions Expo in Long Beach next week to kind of get a gauge of what the West Coast Impressions show is going to be like this year. I mean, obviously amidst what's going on right now in California, but I'm curious to see where that's going to go and if I feel the same thing there. Because I don't know. It was a feeling at that event or at that show that I was like, I feel back.
Yeah.
I felt the exact same way 1,000%. It's just
Mhm.
it was like the old days,
Yeah,
so to
yeah,
speak.
yeah.
Which
I think
which old days though, Terry? You've got a couple of iterations you've been through?
I have the ups and downs. It feels like a way up right now.
yeah,
All right.
it
No,
does. It really does.
yeah, yeah, awesome. And Doug Sobel says he'll be there at Impressions.
Cool.
Patrick, we're going to put a question in front of you here from Doug, actually, about he says, are there any microplastics from your product?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So there are products out there that obviously have some form of microplastics and things like that. For us here at Siser, we certify on a global scale. So Okotex approved standard 100, CPSI compliant. All of our certifications allow us to ensure that if there are things like that, which I don't know any as of right now, maybe glitter has flakes of it, but our glitter is also tested and quality checked that we don't actually flake. Like our glitter flake does not flake off of the material as much as you try. But so for that question, it's a great question. As far as I'm aware, and as far as we're aware, I don't know of any, but I will tell you that based on those global certifications and how stringent like Europe is on testing, California with Prop 65, and things that fall into our industry, that we take the time, energy, and effort to go and pay for those to be tested on our products and pay to have that certification done, because we think it's really important to ensure that when we have questions like Doug's question, that we can kind of answer them relevantly. So with that said, I don't know of any that have microplastics in it. But I would imagine if you probably shred the carrier by itself, you could probably make microplastic out of it. That's the only product that I think, but that's really the only tearaway and throwaway portion of the actual creation process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Wow, Patrick, I appreciate you taking that on. We try to always do that, but at the same time, we don't want to put you on the spot. But
Well,
I kind
it's
of figured
scary, right? People get afraid of those questions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I get it. I get it.
when having you here, we're like, yeah, we got this. So, all right,
throw it
well.
at me.
Patrick, this has been awesome. But what have we missed? What things can you share with the industry? Just kind of, again, I know you kind of looked into the crystal ball there, but anything that we missed at all here?
Yeah, so like I said, check out Pure HT. It's a great product. Get your hands on some, play around with it, use it. For us, on YouTube right now, again, we're taking the education back to 101 this year. So we're going to be doing some live classes where it's just me and you guys, right? It's just me and you, and I'm teaching you 101 on Leonardo, 101 on cutters, 101 on software. I know you guys obviously know Stephanie from our company too. So Stephanie says she'll be doing some content as well. So her and I are going to start talking a little bit more about that. But we're finding new techniques. Our graphic design team upstairs, I say it's the best in the industry, and I really truly believe this. That with those guys and girls up there, they're coming up with these cool, super innovative ways. So if you follow us over on YouTube at Siser North America, we have how to make keychains out of Brick 600, how to layer strip flock and have a really cool press, how to utilize screen door mesh with heat transfer. Have you guys ever heard of this? Screen door mesh and heat transfer? Okay, well, hey, don't worry about it, Aaron. I'll show you next week at Impressions when you're there.
Okay.
No, but with that, we have all of these cool techniques that I've been able to, and our team has been able to create. So I just tell everybody, go check that stuff out. That's all the stuff you've missed. Everything over on YouTube is what you've missed so far.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Check it. Yeah, that's awesome. And actually, I got to see Johan in Charlotte at the end of last year.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away. You talked about, how you guys are seeing kind of that opportunity to embrace DTF but that depth, right? The things that you can do, because I think when we start thinking that way for our customers, right? If you're a decorator out there and you start thinking that way, okay, could I give you just a basic heat transfer? Sure. Right. And it's going to be, and then you're going to whine and complain about how everybody else is running the price down and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
With very little effort, with very little additional cost, you can make this thing stand out where the customers go, how much do I owe you? Here's my blank check. Right. And so I think that's something really worth looking at. And I loved looking through all of Johan's samples, the samples you guys have, the cool stuff you're creating for that inspiration. So talk a little bit.
Well, and I want to just, I obviously, Johan and I try to not boast each other too much because our heads get big. Like I just got a haircut yesterday, but I keep telling people Johan just made my head bigger today. But with that, I will say the foundation and the core of our business model and what Siser is able to accomplish and what we're able to do there is a massive, massive weight on that man's shoulders to produce and to come up with innovative ways and to have thoughts about the industry that can help move and shake the way that we operate. So, I mean, all kudos to Johan and what he's created here. I mean, again, we're a mini team, but I think that small team all kind of came from the foundation of what Johan built of like, you know what, if I don't know it, I'm going to learn it. And if I don't learn it, I'm going to find somebody that can exploit that weakness in me and can do it better. And that is how we've continued to grow in the marketing department, in the sales department, in the customer service department, in the video department, anywhere here. At Siser really starts with the foundation and the drive that Johan brings, and especially Dave in our retail center, our retail side of our business is a huge proponent of that. Maya, who's my boss, is a massive proponent of this. Keith and everyone, Brett, and everybody here on that executive team, they all have the same mindset of we're all moving the needle together. So everybody grab a side and grab your handle, and we all pick it up together and we all move at the same time, because that's the only way to grow and scale a business and create a sustainability, because you've got to figure it's 42 employees he's responsible for making sure that we eat every day and our families eat. So it's a big responsibility. And honestly, I don't know anybody that's done it better in the industry, to be completely honest with you.
Love it. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Truly, some cool stuff, and that's why we love talking to you guys. Because
sure.
again, it's we can all learn from this, right? We can all learn ways that we can better our businesses.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. All right, Patrick. Before we let you get out of here, though, we need to know how people can find you and where they can connect with you at.
Absolutely. So you can find me personally at Patrick_CaesarNA on Instagram, or you can just search Patrick Ali and my picture will pop up there. But anything that you want to know about Siser, we are Siser North America on all platforms. You'll see Siser Official, you'll see Siser America Latina and all those. Siser North America is specifically our branch, but anywhere, YouTube, Instagram, I'm going to say TikTok for a couple days, and then and everywhere that you can see, Facebook. And then we also have, if you don't mind me doing a shameless plug, we also over on Facebook have an incredible support group at Siser North America Support over on our Facebook. And if you guys end up joining our Siser North America support group, feel free, don't fill out any of the information, just say saw Pat on the two regular guys or watch the two regular guys, and we'll make sure to approve you right away. But that's a great resource because it's myself, it's everybody else here at Siser are established in that group as moderators and admins, and it's a community. I always say it's a community learning from like-minded people, all kind of figuring this stuff out together, and we're always there to back up and help. So it's a great resource if you're looking for more information.
Love it. Thank you, Patrick.
Yeah, no problem.
Great conversation today, and thank you for being here, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.
Wow.
Awesome as always.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, smart guy, super fun, just as build. So thank you so much, Patrick, for being here and sharing all that information, and exciting stuff, and the positivity, right, and that outlook. I think we need to have more of that in our industry. So
I didn't realize they did the live introduction to that product, and well, let's dig in the dirt. It's awesome.
That's super cool. Super cool. All right. Well, Terry, what do you have coming up here on the road this year?
Absolutely. My complete screen printing business course, my next class in Chicago at Atlas Screen Supply is March 15th and 16th. My next class in Phoenix at Workhorse Products will be April 26th and 27th. Next week, I'm going to be talking DTG and DTF printing, which technology is right for you at Impressions Expo in Long Beach. And all the rest of my upcoming events you can find at terrycombs.com. How about you, Aaron?
So I am excited to be back at the DAX shows this year. I have 2 sessions, and their next show coming up is in Kansas City on February 21st and 22nd. So on February 21st, I get to present a seminar that I call Fast Track Your Success, half the time to achieve your goal. So give some tips on ways that, oh my gosh, it's already end of February and I'm not there yet, right? Or if you're sitting here on January 17th. So come check that out. It's at 2 p.m. there, local time in Kansas City. And then the next day on February 22nd, I will be hosting my very popular How to Master Pricing for Profit, and looking forward to sharing that with folks at 12:30 p.m. in Kansas City time there, Central Time. And if you want to register for that show, you can go over to DAXshow.com. DAXSHOW.com. And you can actually, if you go over there right now, you can register to get on the show floor at no charge. And then you can add these 2 classes and many more amazing classes that are happening there at the DAX program there. So excited about that. The other thing I'm very excited about, and you guys have heard me talk about it, but I'm going to keep talking about it because I don't want people to miss this opportunity. The Summit of Success is fast approaching, much faster than we realize, April 10th through the 12th. And it's going to be at a beautiful, amazing lodge in North Dakota. As a business owner, I would say this could be the difference between burnout and struggle. And, maybe even a challenging year, right? And the difference between that and joyful, peaceful, best year yet, right? I even put that in all caps. So if you are typing this out, type that in all caps. It's just going to be an opportunity to recharge and walk away with tools for more success. We're going to realign with your why you started your business. And it's going to be 3 days and 2 nights where you don't have to do anything but focus on yourself and your business. And the all-inclusive registration is only $1,500. It's covering all of your meals, lodging, all the sessions. There are only 11 rooms available for this exclusive retreat. So I would recommend securing your spot right away by going to osg.link/SOS. Or better yet, contact Becky Kotzer directly. Her telephone number is 605-216-8894. Or you can reach out to her via email at becky@bkcustomsd.com. And I ask you to reach out to Becky because she's the host of this amazing event, and she can give you more details, talk to you about whether if it's actually right for you, all that kind of stuff. So definitely check that out. And then one last thing I wanted to share, make sure that you are a part of our Facebook group at the Entrepreneur Success Hub. You can find that at osg.link/group. It is a group that you want to be a part of. There's tons of great perspectives, tons of great questions to make you think more deeply about your business. And we get into things that are more than just surface level stuff. So if you are really serious about your business, come join that group, and not just join the group, but actually get engaged in the group, osg.link/group. Terry, could you share what Eric's got coming up here?
Absolutely. The Take Up episode 214, Getting What You Don't Pay For. I love it already, Eric.
Yes.
Learning embroidery and digitizing from free resources. In this abridged episode, we'll discuss how to use free and low-cost resources to advance your self-directed learning. We'll talk about how you can learn from built-in fonts and design assets, free design projects, stock designs, and embroidery analysis. Jump in at 2:30 p.m. Mountain Time, January 17th, to share your methods and get a refresher in learning by example in machine embroidery. And Eric will also be at Impressions Expo next week, teaching both the Technique Toolbox and Embroidery RX. Head over to impressionsexpo.com for more information. I'll see you at Impressions Expo as well.
All right. Well, are you ready for some secret sauce, Terry?
I am, Eric. Let's hear Aaron, let's hear some secret sauce.
All right. First, I'm going to start with a question here. Are you leaving money on the table without even realizing it? Probably yes, right? The truth is, most business owners are making costly pricing mistakes, and it's holding them back from real growth. But don't worry, I'm here to help you fix that today. Today's secret recipe is calls for sharing 2 of the biggest pricing mistakes I see, and more importantly, how you can fix them to start pricing with confidence and purpose. So, mistake number 1. Too many business owners put so much of their pricing emphasis on what their competitors are charging and think, well, I guess I should charge about the same, maybe even a little less to win more customers, right? That's kind of the mindset, the thinking there. And I know this because there's a sea of comments, questions in the Facebook groups out there. Well, how much would you charge for this? And then I know I've hear all the time about the constant trolling on Etsy to get a pricing average, things like that, right? So I know for some of us, this might sound familiar, and it's okay, right? The challenge with this strategy is it completely ignores what makes you unique. right? So here's the quick fix for you. You must identify what makes you unique. Some people might call this your unique value proposition, but it's basically, what do you offer that your competitors don't? And this is not necessarily the product or service, but instead you can determine this by answering the question, why do my customers buy from me instead of the other options that are available to them, right? And it could be things like faster turnaround, better quality, personalized service. Most likely it's you, right? And it's not complicated if you don't second guess yourself. Now, you want to confirm what the answer is? Okay. Ask your best customers why they choose you. That's simple. It will verify what your instincts already know. And then you can set your prices based on the value that you provide, not on what your competitors are doing. Because let's face it, competing on price is a race to the bottom, and nobody wins that race. All right, mistake number 2 here. Let's turn that the right way. Mistake number 2 there. Be honest with yourself. Okay, just take a moment. Let that sink in. Be honest with yourself first. Do you know how much it costs you to be in business each day? I do seminars all across the country each year, and I always ask how many people know that detail. And I will say that it's less than 10% of business owners, and they come to my seminars because they're not making any money. Now, the good news is people manage to make it by pricing their products without fully understanding their costs, but I would say it's an uphill battle. You might think, it cost me $10 to make this, so I'll sell it for 20. Simple, right? Well, nope. What about your time, your utilities, your equipment maintenance, marketing? Those little expenses are going to sneak in, and you might do okay on some products and services, and you're going to lose out on others. And ultimately, when some well-meaning but terrible advice creeps in, you guys are familiar, the dollar per thousand stitch, or take your product costs and multiply it times 3. Now, those simplifications don't take into account your unique business, which is what we talked about in mistake number 1. So how do we fix this, right? Well, first off, we need to make sure that you're covering all of your costs. Now, for any accountants that are tuning in, cover your ears, because of what I'm about to say might not sit well with you. But for those of you who don't know their unique costs, and I want to get them headed in the right direction, that's why I'm going to say this, okay? So accountants, don't throw stones at me here. You don't need to know your costs to the penny, right? Each year you're going to get closer and closer, but I don't want to overwhelm people. And when we start to get overwhelmed, we kind of don't do the things that we need to do. So what we've done is I want to build in a little protection if we don't know exactly right on for those missing details. So to do this, I encourage you to just add up as many expenses as you can come up with. And I actually detail a ton of a full list of the expenses here in my book, The Fundamentals of Business Success. And you can actually turn to page 130 if you've got a copy of that in hand, and that'll get you started on the details that I'm talking about here. But if you don't have a copy, you can go over to osg.link/bizbook. And so when you're armed with that information, with as many of the costs that you can get your arms around, then you're going to add in 2 safety numbers. Number 1 is you need to plan to pay yourself. No matter what stage of your business you're in, this is an amount that you would pay someone else to do your job, right? So make sure that that's included in your pricing, is a plan to pay yourself. Number 2, safety mechanism, is an amount to plan for future investments that are reasonable for your business, right? You're going to need new equipment down the road. You're going to need to upgrade something. So take the cost of that equipment, divided by the time until you believe you're going to need it and your business can afford it, and then add that to your expense number as well. Okay. When we have all 3 of those numbers together, your overall expenses, the plan to pay yourself, and future investments, then divide by the number of hours available to you and your employees to work in your business, right? And that gives your business a daily, hourly expense rate. Now, armed with that information, then you can take the cost of goods, add an amount for overhead, which is your expenses divided by the time to produce or provide the product or service, plus a desired profit amount, and that becomes your pricing strategy. So here's the good news for those business owners out there that don't feel confident about their pricing. I was in that same situation, and I learned that by being proactive and solving these two simple mistakes, you can quickly gain confidence in your pricing. Pricing does not have to be stressful or confusing. When you price based on value and you make sure to cover all of your costs, you build a business that's not only surviving, but actually thriving. So let's make sure you guys get out there and charge what you're worth. That's your secret sauce for today. Price with confidence and watch your business grow. I'll see you next time. All right.
Excellent sauce for today, Aaron.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, Terry. Well, we have come to the close of another show. We did okay. Thanks for joining us. And we really appreciate your time to be here. And we also appreciate Patrick's time for being here, and appreciate everybody's comments and sharing out there. So make sure that you tune in next week here.
All right. We also want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, for all he does for us every week behind the scenes.
And next week, Terry, we do have an amazing show coming up for you. And I'm going to need you guys to show up for me as well. I'm going to be rolling solo because Terry and Eric will be at the Impressions show. But they've done a ton of work in the background, so they're not leaving me hanging. But I'm going to be solo on screen here. But I'm going to have two amazing guests with us, the gentleman from ASI and Printing United, who we had on back in November 8th, for like a quick kind of hit about their partnership, the alliance partnership that they've created there. We're going to dive deeper into that and talk promo products and talk printing industry in general. So I can't wait to have Dave and Tim back on the show with me next week. So make sure you guys tune in.
That should be a great show. Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And that was the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Two Regular Guys. We're here because of listeners like you, and we're so grateful to have you on this journey with us. For more valuable insight, be sure to visit our website, 2regularguys.com, and join the conversation on our Facebook page. And hey, if you or someone you know has expertise, a unique perspective, or a story worth sharing, we'd love to have them as a guest on the show. Just reach out. Remember, success in this industry isn't just about the equipment you own or the techniques you've mastered. It's about the mindset you bring and the connections you build. Keep learning, stay curious, and don't be afraid to think differently. Keep pressing on, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Two Regular Guys.